folks. We're here with my new Can Am Maverick Trail 1000 DPS. I've had it for about a week now. Kind of just go over what's been done, and I'll try to tell you what's been done by the dealer and what I've done since I've had it for about a week. I've not taken it out on trail yet at all. I rode it around the block, that's about it. We had an early spring here in Alaska, but seems like winter has come back again, so just kind of had it in the garage tinkering with it. I did install this front bumper, and I also installed the light bar, although some folks have said that you know, they like it better on the top of the vehicle. And I've got the soft cab enclosure coming, and it's got the hard-coated windshield and the roof. But I don't know if I'll mount the light bar up there or not. I don't do a lot of deep mud riding, and that's the problem, is that the front of your machine can get so dirty with the mud that your light just becomes useless. So we'll see as I'm out. We had the winch installed. That was something that we ordered with the unit. I added the roll bar mount for my GoPro. I'm going to get a swivel mount here so that I can turn the GoPro so that it's facing directly forward. And I may have a mount already, an adjustable one that will mount on this roll bar mount here that I can turn. So I just got to take a look and see. We had the mirrors added, the side mirrors. I started wondering if those were compatible with the soft upper doors. I've had some people in my Facebook group that I belong to on the Can Am Maverick Trail Facebook page that said that they are, so we'll see. We had the Wet Sounds sound bar installed by the dealer, the rear view mirror, so that was all done by them. We also had these knee pad storage, side pocket Can Am bags put on. And I mean, they're well made. I don't know if they're worth the money. You can probably get something made by Tusk cheaper, maybe through Rocky Mountain ATV. But these are well made. They do have a lot of cushion right here where your knee sits. So again, I don't know. I mean, this the inside of the cab here is pretty tight, so I suppose it would be easy for your knee to hit that as you're out on any kind of a rough trail. So we'll see once we start taking it out. The remote here for the Wet Sounds sound bar, so if you're driving down the trail, you know, you can skip a song, turn the volume up or down, and so far, I mean, I think I'm just going to Bluetooth my iPhone to that. It works out well. The Wet Sounds does have these wires here that you can plug something directly into it. I don't think I'm ever going to use that, so I'll probably just wire these up, stick them under the dash somewhere. But they are there for somebody that wants to plug directly in. But again, I think I'll just Bluetooth. And so basically all the buttons, I mean, most of you that have a Maverick already know what a lot of this stuff is, but so you got your headlights here, you got your winch and your gauges. And I did have the heat installed by the dealer. Not that it does much good with an open cab right now, but anyway, it's in there, and it does get hot. We drove it around the block and cranked that thing up, and it does put out some heat, so I think it'll do really well once the cab is enclosed. You've got your two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, you got your rear diff lock. This is the button for the light bar, and so when you get your wiring harness, that comes with it. So you just pop out the flat face where there was no button, and that just pops right in. You got the Eco mode, Sport mode, and then I do have one spot left for an additional switch, should I want one. Put something in there. And you get your power outlet. Right now I have a Magellan TRX 7 GPS off-road system that I have here, and that's held on there by the RAM mount that comes with it. And so that works out really well. I just mounted it right to the passenger grab bar, and works out really well. Again, did a lot of review reading on the different off-road systems, GPS systems, and this one had a lot of good reviews. They're not cheap, that's for sure, and I think I spent almost $500 or $600 just on that alone. You'll quickly realize as you get one of these things that they can quickly become an addiction, and you're spending more money every time you turn around on something. And so anyway, it's not a cheap hobby to have. I also added the Can Am shoulder bag, which was pretty easy to mount. You pop out a couple of the body rivets on the back panel, and then they give you some screws that go in there, and there's some clips that sit back in there that the bolt or screws into, and there's a washer inside here. And again, not a lot of storage in there, but quite roomy. I mean, you can put quite a few things in there. So I don't know if you can see, that's the washer and bolt that go through, and then it just straps on the back bar and tightens down, holds it in place. So it works out really well. Now the one thing, and we did add these Can Am shoulder pads on the belt, which is nice because the belt does tend to, especially if you're short, tends to kind of dig into your neck. So we did add those on both sides. Now this is one of the things that I don't like, is that every time you get out, you have to make sure that your seatbelt is all the way back in its normal position, you know, because sometimes it tends to hang out. And then you got to push it back in each time you get out in order to close the door. Otherwise, you got the seatbelt hanging out the door. So that's one of the things. I mean, it's not a big deal, but you know, it's just something that you got to realize you're going to be doing all the time, is making sure you feed the seatbelt back up and then pushing it back in place so that it's not in the way. You know, one of the other things that is probably for a lot of people, and not so much me because I'm not that big of a guy, I'm only 5'6", maybe 180 pounds, but so if you're sitting inside these Maverick Trails, and you know these things are only 50 inches wide, there's not a lot of elbow room. So, and that was one of the things I had read. It's not a big deal, and but you definitely notice it. So we'll see how it is when I'm out on the trail, and you know, I don't think it'll be too bad for us, but if you're a really big person, these things might be a little bit tight, especially if you have two big people. Now, both me and my wife are fairly small, and so I think the cockpit will fit us just fine, but anyway, we'll see. So going around the back, I do have the rear bumper ordered, so hopefully that will be here soon. I did have the hitch put on. I also had the rack extension put on, which is really nice. Now a lot of people, you can get the trunk. I didn't necessarily want that. Kind of limits what you can do with this space, so I put the rack extension on, which gives me a lot more versatility with this room back here. And so I got a tusk bag right now. There's 3 sections. These actually, these 2 side pieces here, you can attach to the main bag, or you can just take them off. Right now I just have them sitting in there. They're not really attached to it, but these Velcro loops here go on and hook around these smaller bags. There's a loop on the back of them, so it keeps them all in place. These are also coolers, so you can throw some drinks or a sandwich or whatever. Again, I'll probably only carry one with me when I'm out on the trailer in the main bag, but anyway, we'll see. Then I do have the Rotopacks 3-gallon can, which I'm not going to leave here. I'm going to mount that actually on the front rack when I get it, and I've got a mount coming. I've heard a lot of stories about this back area here getting really hot, you know, because it sits right above the engine. And one of the people in the Can Am Maverick Trail Facebook group had given me some indication that his dealer told him that it's not a good idea to carry any gas cans back in this back area because one time somebody was out on a trail, and I don't know if the can leaked, what the deal was, but anyway, the whole machine burned down to the ground right on the trail. So I definitely don't want that to happen, and I suppose I could see if somehow that thing did rupture and the fuel got down on the engine, I could see where that would definitely be a problem. So I'm gonna move it. I don't know if it would be any different, like if you had the spare tire rack on the back and then had the gas can mounted up on the top of it, if that would be any different, but I'm gonna put it up here. Now that might limit my visibility out, you know, there's not a lot. I sit pretty low since I'm not that tall, but we'll see once I get the front rack mounted and then put the Rotopacks on top of that, what my visibility is. And then also one of the other things, you'll notice I still have the stock tires on here, and everybody that I've talked to has said get rid of those as soon as possible. So that'll probably be another thing that I replace. I'm probably going to take it out on a trail with these and then keep my fingers crossed that I don't run into a problem. But one of the issues that I can tell, I mean, you know, some people call them banana peels on rims, and that might be a good analogy. These are only 4-ply tires. They're the Carlisle, I believe they're ACT tire, but it's only a 4-ply. So it's really not a super heavy duty tire, even though the reviews are pretty good on them in some areas, but I don't think those people necessarily do a lot of riding. So I'm probably going to look at something in an 8-ply rating, and then probably put bead locks on as well. So we'll see what I end up getting, but I got to take a look. I mean, that's going to be another $1,000 as we get, you know, into that. So yeah, these things can quickly become an addiction. You can be throwing money out the window like crazy. And as we all know, if you go to sell it, you're never going to get all your money back. I mean, so you just have to be prepared. I mean, if you're going to have this kind of a hobby, know you're going to be spending a lot of money, especially if you're like me and you want to add all the little neat gadgets and things like that. But I'm going into it knowing that I'm not going to get my money out of this. It's purely for fun and my own satisfaction, I guess. So we'll see. Oh, the other thing too that I wanted to show you was that there is a lot of good glove box space in here. So this is pretty deep, and now I've got kind of the booklet and manual that came with it. But so that's a pretty good spot. There's also one more storage spot on the driver's side as well. There's another spot here, and right now I just got my remote for the winch in here. So anyway, so quite a bit of storage. All right, well, I think that's about it for today. I'll be trying to post more videos, especially once we get out on the trail with it, so I can give you my feedback on that. I mean, right now I'm pretty happy overall with the unit, just riding it around the block and playing with it the little bit that I have. So, like I say, I'll post more videos once we get out and let you know how things go. If you like the videos, subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. If not, just keep passing on. All right, see you next time, folks.